asleep or I fell in the toilet or something?
No, I had to furiously get back over to the Newsy channel and delete every one of those channels and then download another file and massaging the bandmate. Anyway,
Gotcha. Well, yes,
because he flipped the fuck out. He freaked out. He's like, "Oh my god, what are you doing? We're not releasing until Saturday. No one's supposed to hear this but Drizzle."
Well, that's
Oh,
why I haven't been able to find it then. That's all I wanted to know. Like,
but
has it been released yet? Because you're telling me it's out, and I'm going and looking for it, and it's nowhere. I can't find it fucking anywhere.
because that's what I had been told.
Ah.
They had told me that it's out, but it's not out, and it was going to be last weekend, but now it's going to be this weekend. So, anyway,
Anyway.
anyway,
It's in case you can't tell, ladies and gentlemen, it is a Thursday night in COVID land. It is a most auspicious Thursday night in COVID land. We have our first Merkin poop.
that's right.
USA, we're number one. Fuck yeah.
Poop in one hand, rabbi in the other. Which feels faster? Okay.
Well, which one fills with blood faster? That would be the question.
Yeah, Pope in one hand. Pope Bob, a Leo of the 14th order. There you go.
Do you think he's going to go with Bob, or do you think he'll stay with the formal Robert?
Well, of course, as the Bishop of Rome, sitting in the chair of Saint Peter, he is Pope Leo the 14th. He's no longer
that's
Bishop
true.
Robert.
That's true. That's a good point.
Or whatever. So, just like with Karl Wojtyla and J.P. Deuce, the Polish Pope.
Right.
Now we got a Merkin. And of course, he's been welcomed into the papacy like any American would be by getting a strong dressing down on the Twitters for past tweets, like talking about the sanctity of life and, Jesus would cater to all human beings regardless of nationality. Really, really controversial.
Oh, wow. He's going to last long.
I mean, what did you expect? I mean, of course he's going to be anti-abortion, and of course he reads.
Does he read the comments? Is he
issues?
dumb? Do we have a dumb pope?
Do you have issues of magazines like the March issue, the April issue? Because I mean, I would think. Well, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't know much about this new pope, but hopefully he just reads Altar Boy for the articles and not the pinup centerfolds. Anyways,
I think if he's made it this far, whatever you think he is, he's probably not.
He rose pretty highly. He
most likely died in the wool and has been groomed for this position for one reason or another. I happen to think it's going to be because they're going to execute him right quick, but that's just me.
I'm really surprised as to why Jewish bimbos like Laura Loomer and all these other people that are totally not Catholic, why are they chiming in on the new leader of the Roman Catholic Church? You don't even have a dog in that fight. Sit the fuck down.
Technically, as an influencer, no. Actually, I'm going to correct you there because this is something I know a little bit about. I have to deal with these motherfuckers day in and day out. As an influencer, technically your job is to be an expert on whatever the current thing is. It doesn't matter what it is. You do like a couple hours of research. And typically you can just mash together enough content to make yourself pass as an expert for the average American, which, again, want to remind everyone in the listening audience that the average IQ of the American population at this point is the number 80, and that number is plummeting rapidly. So again, you don't even have to really know what you're talking about. You just have to be good at sitting in front of a camera and regurgitating crap that you don't care about into a microphone.
It's just, generally speaking, with most subjects, that is completely correct. It just feels weird when we're talking about a religious leader of a religion based somewhere else that you're not a member of. I mean, to make the comparison, it would be just like if I started bitching about what the Ayatollah Khomeini said in Tehran the other day. The fuck do I care? I don't live in Iran, and I'm not fucking Muslim or Persian or what the fuck ever. So I have no opinion on what, same thing with edicts from imams from Saudi Arabia or what the Council of Mormons says in Salt Lake City. I don't know. I don't care. I ain't got a dog in that fight. And
Right.
so it's been really weird to see like American flags dropped at half mast for the Pope at government buildings. And then
What?
to hear all of this
Wait, hold
commentary.
up. What? I guess technically they can do that if they choose to. But you're right. It's a little bizarre.
I thought that was weird. Here I am at the hospital. Well, now to be fair, but it was the same at the Cabell Huntington. Because I was at St. Mary's Hospital, which is a Catholic hospital. So, of course,
Right. St.
one would
Mary's, yeah.
expect Catholic hospital to,
That makes
drop the
sense.
flag
Sure.
for the Holy Father. It makes total sense. They have a Catholic mass there every day inside the facility. But of course, it's not run by the Palatine nuns anymore. And it was the same situation at Cabell Huntington, which is totally non secular. So, yeah, like, again, it was just, it's so American. It's so of this age now to just immediately butt in and drop your 2 cents on who the Council of Cardinals and the Vatican City happen to tap on the shoulder as the next pope when they're in Rome and you're in America and you're not a Catholic. So why do you even fucking care? Why even put your 2 cents in? But that's a Twitter thing. I get that.
Yeah, well, yeah. That's
I
how
get
people
that.
have been conditioned. They've
It's just
been
weird.
conditioned that they have a right to chime in on whatever it is that they feel like. I
It's
know
just
because I
weird to
abuse
me.
that regularly.
It just it just seems really fucking bizarre to be commenting on religious leadership in a religion that which you have never been a part of or
Right.
practiced. That's what's weird about it.
Eh,
I wouldn't, uh, unless you're just trashing the religion generally, which is what, Twitter is good at doing. But to get into the weeds of they shouldn't have this person or that person or this, I don't know. It's clear to me that, um, well, because, I hadn't really fucked with Twitter much, but I kept trying to log in on my laptop and my computer desktop instead of having to use my phone.
right.
'Cause on my phone, I can go to my tried and true old Twitter page, but I kept trying and kept trying and kept trying. Days and days and days trying to figure out what's my fucking name and password to get into my own goddamn Twitter page. I gave up. So I opened a new account, started going on Twitter, and at least I was able to read it. Now, the 3 times I've logged on since I created that, every single time I had to get a thing on my phone and then go to my fucking email and jump through all these goddamn hoops. And then when
Yep.
it finally logs me on, the screen flashes 10 times while it reloads and then reloads. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? And then when
Oh,
I
wow.
finally get into the feed, 80% of the shit on there is bots.
Yep.
Not even fucking real people.
Yep.
And I can tell the real people because they're the ones that are making comments about things they shouldn't comment on or saying things that they shouldn't say and speaking to things that they're completely uninformed on.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Comment after
That's
comment after
Twitter.
comment
Yeah.
after comment. That's
Yeah.
Twitter.
That's your playground. I often refer to it lovingly as a dumpster fire. Because
Yeah.
that's exactly what the fuck it is.
The
It
big
is
dirt
the most
pit.
dumpster fire of all of the social ghettos. And that's saying something. because BitChute
really
runs a very, very close second.
It's really bad.
Yeah.
Way worse than under what was his name?
I
Dorsey?
said weeks ago.
Before Musk. Yeah.
Weeks ago. I posted on Twitter because I prefer to dead name it forever in perpetuity. That is my right as an American. I actually posted that there was not a single redeeming value on the platform at all, period.
Nope.
And I got quite a few people agreeing with me on that. I was like, wow, I didn't expect that. But there's nothing of value there, nothing whatsoever, nothing, absolutely nothing. Not even the stuff that I post there. There's nothing there.
And my old Twitter that has my legal name and everything checked out on it, and I've used it for, I don't know, 10 years, still not verified. Oh, but it can be verified if I'll pay him money.
Right.
Yeah, go fuck yourself. What's the point of being verified on Twitter? What's the point of having a blue check on Twitter? I don't give a flying fuck about Twitter. It's literally a huge garbage dumpster on fire, but it's filled with flammable shit. Just a big flaming pile of shit in a dumpster floating down a flooded street. Pretty much.
Maybe this is the perfect opportunity for like a crossover type of thing, where we could do like a papal Twitter collaboration type of deal.
Yeah.
And like the Pope could be the Pope for the Catholics as well as Twitter.
Wow.
I think there's we got something there we can work with. Well, we'll develop it a little bit better before we make a pitch, but yeah, I think there's something there.
I mean, honestly, in the grand scheme of things, Roman Catholic Church is completely discredited and largely
well, yeah,
entirely irrelevant. So, when I was pushing back against Laura Loomer and others chiming in on the Pope,
basically since the time of Martin Luther,
the ultimate takeaway for me is, who the fuck cares? I mean, at this point, the Roman Catholic Church is like a factory that still makes telegraph machines and teaches Morse code. I mean, it's so far even beyond, it stretches the term anachronistic. I mean, just look at the Swiss guards with the parachute pants.
Oh,
check
dude.
and mate. I rest my case, Your Honor.
I'm going to see if I can find an image real quick I don't know how anyone could have gone through the last 2 weeks and not know what the fucking Swiss Guard look like, but I'm sure they're out there.
Yeah, there are some that probably have no fucking idea what I'm talking about. And we haven't even gotten to Kashmir. I'm getting ahead of myself.
You are getting ahead of yourself. Look, I got
that's for the second hour. Second hour when we get the slurpy cookie time. Anyway. Slurpy? Shout out Pajit. Pooping in the street. So, there's so many other things going on.
This video.
Did I get into the Burkinabe and Enugu and Timbuktu and Ouagadougou and Burkina Faso? Am I ringing any bells?
You almost had me with Burkina Faso, but I'm not. I don't know why.
Did we touch on Capitan Ibrahim Traore last Thursday?
I don't remember specifically hearing about Abraham. No.
Don't think we.
Let's see.
Traore, because I went pretty deep on Traore this Monday on the Peasants podcast.
I noticed you went pretty deep on Monday. It was like 8 hours deep. Holy shit, dude.
Well, most
Are
of
you
that
all
was
right?
just
Like, do you still
video.
have enough energy to do the 2 hours tonight? That's kind of epic.
Oh, and well, that's the other thing. Like, I have to leave about 4 minutes before the top of the hour because I got another gig that starts at 9 p.m. Pacific time, which I figured out is
Midnight
midnight
Eastern.
here.
Yeah.
Um, and so, which, yeah, I can probably run up till about 2 minutes till, but like right at the top of the hour or within about
That's
somewhere
perfect.
between 9 and 9:02, is going to be red light for me to go push manufacturingreality.org on a whole nother audience.
So now I'm curious.
Thrill Kill Medical Cult with Zoe.
Really interesting.
I made I've made now 2 songs for the Thrill Kill brand, the Thrill Kill Medical Cult, um, which I've learned so much from reading in that book and exploring the International Classification of Disease Codes, Schedule 10, and all that stuff.
Yeah, the ICD-10.
Yeah, I recognized all those parachute pants there and the
Mhm.
colorful regalia.
So you were able to see, well, shit, while we're
Yeah.
there, let me go ahead and unmute it and play a little bit. Tell me if you can hear it. I'm going to guess that you can't.
Well, I could see it.
You can see it. Yeah.
Known as
Well,
the
I saw it
Swiss
before. I don't
Guard,
see it now.
do so by
Oh, you
wearing
don't?
what
Oh,
is
that's
very
right, because I
probably
switched off of it. So now I have to go back. This is a little bit of a pain in the ass, but
But it's open source and it's OBS, so I'm counting it as a victory.
eh. Well, this one technically isn't open source.
There they are.
Yeah. All right. Now let's see if you can actually hear it too. I'm going to guess you can.
the most outlandish uniform of any military
hear that?
force in the entire world.
Negative.
Yeah. That's what I
But I
thought.
can still hear the Discord notifications, so it's all good.
Oh, cool.
Boop,
Well, we're all
boop,
right then. That'll be fine.
boop, boop. I had to dump Discord again. All right.
That's what she said.
Why is this not hitting? Come on, man. Get a good rip here. Anyways, Traore, Burkina Faso. I got to stay on track here.
Right. Why were we talking about Burkina Faso?
So, Ibrahim Traore was accused by United States Army General Michael Langley, who is the current CEO for AFRICOM, commanding officer in Camp Lemonnier, Sheikh Djibouti. Wow.
His last name is actually Langley.
Yes, his last name is actually Langley.
I
Langley.
can't make this shit up.
He's a very dutiful house Negro. Anyways, he's down there at Sheikh Djibouti.
Great. Now I'm going to have to set up a GoFundMe.
Which, if you all will remember the previous Get Back Tartar, where we had the vaginal geography lesson of the Red Sea, he's sitting right by the cervix at the top of the vaginal canal.
That's kind of where
Djibouti.
you want to be. Yeah.
Right. It's kind of where you want to be, especially if you're about to nut. Anyways, so Michael Langley accused Capitan Ibrahim Traore, the interim military leader of Burkina Faso, and he accused him of using Burkina Faso's gold reserves to pay for his security detail. Um, and that's why the U.S. and French backed assassination attempts. I think we're up to 41 assassination attempts in 3 years.
Damn. That's
And,
prolific.
look, I can understand why General Michael Langley would complain so loudly and make such a wild accusation against the leader of an African country when your previous some 30 to 40 attempts at assassination have failed what can you do other than to complain about he's spending too much money on his security detail? Otherwise, we'd already fucking killed him. Um, and granted, Ibrahim Traore speaks
It makes sense.
English fluently, French fluently, Burkinabe fluently, and is semi-fluent in Russian. And in fact, all day
Wow.
long, he has been literally shoulder to shoulder with Vladdy Poots as the guest of honor
Oh,
for
is
the
he in
entire
Moscow for the big celebration?
parade celebrating the victory of the Great Patriotic
Well,
War,
yeah, it's the 80th
which is what they call
anniversary.
World War II.
Yeah,
It's the 80th anniversary,
that's right.
I think. And so you've literally got Xi Jinping on the left side, Putin, and Ibrahim Traore on the right hand side. Now, after the last assassination attempt, where one of his own inner circle bodyguards, I'm sorry, I'm getting my numbers mixed up. The bodyguard was offered 41 million. There's only been 18 assassination attempts in the last 3 years. No need to exaggerate. I'm just getting my numbers mixed up.
Huh.
18 assassination attempts. The last one involved
$41
a
million.
bounty of $41 million. Okay, I got it all. I got it straightened out now.
Was that going to be taxpayer money, or did that come from the black budget, or do you not know?
I think it's called the National Endowment for Democracy, actually.
Oh, that makes
Anyways,
sense.
uh, Voice of America. So, so what made him such a controversial character when he assumed power over Burkina Faso was the fact that he ran off the French and the Americans and the lily pad drone airstrips that were being operated in northern Burkina Faso because um, you have to understand you got the Sahara Desert that runs from Eritrea and Yemen, both sides of the Red Sea, and it runs across Ethiopia and Sudan and southern Libya and southern Algiers, all the way over into Mauritania and Morocco. And that's the Great Desert, a Sahara El Akbar, or Sahara Desert, as they say in England. Um, and then running just beneath that is what's called the Sahel, the Sahel,
Right.
Sahel. And that would include going from east to west again, starting at the mouth of the Red Sea. So we're right at the pussy lips on my geography lesson there. Island of Socotra, the cliff. And you got Somalia there and Somaliland. And then you run across through South Sudan. Hello, Ajuba. Right through Central African Republic, Burkina Faso, Mali, Senegal. That's the Sahel. And across that belt from Somalia to Senegal is basically the Toyota Trail, right? Where you can
Mm.
go across Sudan and Chad and Niger, Mali, Mauritania. So these are the countries that are directly underneath the North African Strip, which is Egypt to Morocco. And so you've got these what are called stateless fighters or terrorists. I guess stateless fighters is the neutral term
Yeah.
until we figure out whether or not they're freedom fighters or terrorists. Just depends on whether or not we're funding them overtly or covertly.
Right, right. It
So,
makes a difference.
right. Either way, we're still selling guns because U.S. is the number one arms dealer on planet Earth.
That's
So,
right.
it's all about money.
Don't you
So
fucking forget it either.
Burkina
Wipe out your whole
Faso
damn
and
family.
Mali are both sitting on, well, Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali, the three occupy, um, there's just a smorgasbord of copper, lithium, and other minerals, rare earth minerals included amongst those, that are concentrated in this area. And
Hmm.
for the longest time, France has controlled this whole area with the CFA franc, even though they don't even use the franc in France anymore. They're on the EU, the euro. Um, but they still manage in Paris the Communauté Financière Africaine, um, which that's the African Financial Community, which included. I mean, used to include from literally from the border with the Democratic Republic of Congo all the way to Senegal. So you're like close to a third of Africa was exchanging their money with the CFA franc, which meant all the money was going through the French banks in Paris. And then they get their fees and everything else. French Total, the oil company in France, has been bleeding Nigeria and Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire and Burkina Faso. That's been bleeding them dry. And so this whole area that's known as the Ivory Coast, that's what Cote d'Ivoire means in French,
Right.
Ivory Coast, um, which stretches from Senegal to Nigeria, Lagos, the biggest city, arguably the biggest city in Africa at
Well,
this
yeah, because
point.
that's all savannah, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And Lagos is the Houston of Africa. It's oil
That's not a
city.
compliment, by the way.
Oh, but it's apropos, monsieur, because they literally have just chemical pollution and people sick all around there. It's just like Harris County, Texas.
Right.
Um, and so what's happened is now in the last 3 years, Traore has formed an alliance with other Sahel countries with mutual security agreements and everything else. And his initial expulsion of the French Légionnaire étrangère, the French Foreign Legion, and the Americans with their drone lily pad airstrips, kicking them out of Burkina Faso led to a, dare I say, a domino effect, Kissinger. And next thing you know, Central African Republic, Niger, and other places are all kicking out the French and the Americans. Um, that's a generalized statement. It's a little bit more nuanced depending on which country you're talking about. Technically, the Americans are still in Niger. They're still in Nouakchott at Chad. There's still a footprint there. Um, but things are developing quickly. After the 18th assassination attempt on Traore, where the bodyguard was offered $41 million
Right.
bounty, he had already gone and met with Putin in Russia and signed in person an exclusive mineral deal with Russia for Russia to operate some mines in northern Burkina Faso, up by its border with Mali and um, Chad, I think it is over there. And when he got back to the capital city of, say it with me, friends, Ouagadougou, um, Ouagadougou, um, slips right off the tongue like Timbuktu. But that's Mali next door. So, anyways,
Is that
he
going
gets
to get
back to
us in trouble?
Ouagadougou. They try to ice him, and so he sends out the bat signal, and Kim Jong Un sent special forces to Ouagadougou from Pyongyang to help with the security. The Chinese, Xi Jinping sent a couple of elite units from his 100-acre woods, led by Captain Christopher Robbins, um, and of course the Ruskies. Putin sent in some elite Russian troops. So there's now a motley crew of close to uh, over 1,000 elite forces from. And Iran sent some troops as well, 2 units,
Huh.
about 100 troops. So now you got Russian troops, Chinese troops, Iranian troops, and North Korean troops, all guarding Traore, who is on a meteoric rise in leadership across Africa.
Really?
And it's his military rule and military language is it just smacks of Muammar Gaddafi 2.0. Um, military rule, but
Do you know where he was schooled?
non-secular. No, I haven't done that much research on it. I just started when I heard so many people talking about Traore. You know, I knew of Traore when he came to power because that's when I made my rap song Communauté Financière Africaine, the one where I rap in French. You ever heard that one? Probably not.
I don't
I
think
made that
so.
one like 3 years ago. But when I was making that, I was and I made the video. I ripped videos from Nigeria, Niger, Central African Republic, and Burkina Faso. And it was when I was making that video and clipping up different clips into the video that Traore popped onto my radar for the first time. Made the song, ended up making, I don't know, 1,000 songs since. Never went back to it. Well, then in the last 2 weeks, Traore this, Traore that. Oh my gosh. Then the Michael Langley comment comes out. Now I'm like, oh shit. Oh, they really mad that they can't kill him. What? There's Iranian troops there and North Koreans and Russians and Chinese. What the fuck is going on? I'm gonna have to. Oh, okay, what the fuck is going on here? I'm gonna have to look into this a little bit. And that brings us up to date.
Hmm.
And I heard so much glorification of this guy, and I'm like, yeah, I really need to listen to one of this guy's speeches, but not in English, because you're allowed to say things in other languages that's just verboten in English.
Right.
Anytime you speak in English, special rules apply. Just ask Mossad. It's called Hasbara. They tell 8,200 lies every day. Anyways, so when I found an interview of Traore, well, the interview was in English, and so it was milk
Hmm.
toast. Not total nothing burger. Found 2 more interviews in English. Again, total nothing burger. Then I found an address that he gave to the military academy officer candidates at officer candidate school
There you go.
in Ouagadougou,
Yeah, that'd be a good example.
where an address to the troops and where he's telling them how they're going to lead the country and sustain this revolution because we're going to be fighting a permanent war forever. There will never be peace again. And we're going to have mandatory conscription, and we're not going to be able to tolerate any speech about democracy because democracy is bullshit. And so when you listen to it start to finish, man,
Interesting.
there's some really good. I mean, if it's like a smorgasbord feast, you know what I'm saying? There's a couple of things on several plates that I was just eating it up. Yum, 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 yum,
Hmm.
yum, yum. And
Oh,
then,
yeah.
whoa, what the fuck is that? No, no. What do you mean permanent war? Huh? Oh no, this guy's. And then I'd have to remind myself, okay, he's a military officer,
Mhm.
and he's speaking to other military officers about how they're going to win the hearts and minds of the public. And so,
Well, yeah, if there's not permanent war, they don't have jobs.
right, right. Now, to his credit, he's brought paved roads to Burkina Faso and built
Ooh.
an airport and has managed
With his own
to
2 hands?
uh,
That's impressive.
leading his army. He's slowly but surely managed to reclaim all of
Y
Burkina Faso's territory from the blue
correct
helmets
Yeah,
and the
correct me if I'm
Western
wrong,
backed
Yona. But
terrorists.
military,
Freedom fighters.
military landcraft and military aircraft can use those roads in that airport, correct?
That's right.
So it's kind of hard to say it was for the people. Because it's like dual use, right?
He also purchased two
until the public is just not considered anymore.
To begin a Burkina Faso Airlines, because prior to that time, the only airline that serviced to Ouagadougou was from Paris Charles de Gaulle with Air France. And he's like, we want to have our own airline. So we're going to get 2 airplanes and have our own commercial flights because, in order to kick out the French, we got to kick out all the French, including Air France. And so that was part of the deal. It kind of, in some ways, there's similarities with like Rafael Correa when he took power in Ecuador. The difference being, Traore is laying out his vision for a non-secular militarized state. Now, when he was pressed in several interviews,
that would be a military dictatorship, I believe.
Eventually, we will have elections. Eventually,
for what?
We will have representatives and reelect a legislature and including a president and a vice president, and I'll be able to step down once we have established 2 key things. Number 1.
Doesn't every dictator do this?
National security of all the boundaries so that, we have...
That's a nice nebulous goal.
We've pushed all the terrorists out. So we're 100% terrorist free. That's the number 1 condition. No more terrorists. Number 2, we're able to have an election because we've now educated all of the voting public properly in revolution and the roles that we all must play in this permanent militarized revolution of war forever. So when the whole public has their mind totally fucking right, and there's no more terrorists.
How long is that going to take?
Then they're going to have elections, but don't call it democracy or you go straight to jail. Straight away. Straight to jail.
All right. So you call it...
And that's why Ibrahim Traore is so
slavery.
Fucking awesome. Who's ready to move to Burkina Faso now?
No.
All right.
No thanks. I think it's indicative of probably what's going on in that particular region. Because again, there's a lot of agriculture that is expected to come from that part of the planet over the course of the next 50, 100, 150, 200 years, something like that. Probably even longer than that.
The Sahel
for the foreseeable future.
Africa is still largely undeveloped. There are whole mineral deposits here, there, and yon that have never seen a paved road or a railroad or anything. And so it's just, we've touched on this before in Africa. It's an absolute hungry hippos, goddamn feeding frenzy of competing empires trying to dip their beaks into this just literal fucking gold mine. I mean, that Burkina Faso has gold and uranium and lithium.
Oh yeah, they're sitting pretty then.
Fluoride and all these other things. God.
Well, of course,
it's no wonder there's a line at his door.
Exactly. They're falling all over themselves to do whatever they can to help ensure that this one stays in power. That's right.
That's why Traore is shoulder to shoulder palling around Moscow all day long and all night long. Now he's the toast of the town tonight. Because they know that gold, that uranium, that lithium, that they're going to be bulk shipping back to Russia from Burkina Faso.
Nah, actually,
They're
they'll
going to
probably
be
be shipping
refining
it
it.
somewhere
They're
else
going to
to
be making the
refine it.
money off of it.
Yeah. And I'm sure that they beat us out on that deal.
Yes,
because I know that our State Department. I really need to correct that in my language. The U.S. State Department had been in negotiations with every single nation in the Sahel region until some of them were finally just like, fuck it, get out.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's Burkina Faso. He was the first one to say, get the fuck out. He started a trend that has just continued to reverberate. But this is not like your Arab Spring. It's totally different. Because Arab Spring was mainly like civilians and protesters standing in the street. This is heavily armed, well-trained military. We're not just talking about raggedy fucking Bedouins hauling ass in Toyota pickup trucks.
Right.
No. I mean, Traore has at his disposal right now hypersonic missiles. He's got better weaponry than the U.S. Navy had in the Red Sea.
Well, now they've got a little bit less. I don't know if you saw that or not.
This is my segue to cross the Red Sea, by the way. So we're crossing the Red Sea.
Yeah.
So it turns out Trump announced that
secure those Hornets, damn it.
The U.S. Navy, after losing 3 F-18 Hornets,
I guess it is 3 now. Yeah,
3.
2 in the last month. 2 in the last month.
No match for the stick drone. Way to go, Ansarullah. The United States kicked so much ass with those 700 or 800 plus bombing runs in Yemen.
Well, it was mainly just on the airport.
The aircraft carrier has already cleared the Suez. It's back in the Med. We're racing back home to celebrate kicking their ass. Right.
And they forgot to secure one of the planes.
Right. And, well, to be fair, we won our undeclared war with Yemen after all this time because Yemen said, if you leave, we'll stop shooting at you. So we won. America number 1.
Is that what we negotiated?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ansarullah said,
there was like some sort of talks, and then it was like they flattened the airport. I'm like, oh, okay.
And then they're like, okay.
Well, I suppose that's not a violation of international law.
We'll stop targeting the Red Sea.
Because Yemen's not technically a state, right?
Who? Yemen?
Yemen's
a state.
Yeah, but they're not really a state, right? They're like a state in name only, kind of like Saudi Arabia.
Well, Yemen was established as a British trading outpost when the British got involved. It's always been separate from Saudi Arabia. And then, it gained other territory. Socotra's always been part of Yemen. And the Yemeni people, with their language and their ethnic makeup and everything else, very different from Oman and the Emirates and Saudi Arabia. So, I mean, it's like trying to say that the Basque up in Spain are just part of France and Spain. And, well, it's kind of split between the two, but if you really get into it, what that Euskara Basque that they speak, what the fuck is that? It's weird.
Oh, wow, this is interesting. I didn't actually know this. So they've got, in Yemen, they have a president like what we have right now. Because Wikipedia says that since 2011, Yemen has been in a political crisis where there's like rampant poverty, there's unemployment, corruption.
Right.
People are out in the streets, they're fed up. And their president, who I guess has been in power since 2011, is trying to amend their constitution so that he can get rid of the term limit thing that's in there that says after time he has to go bye-bye. He's trying to get rid of that.
Now, you see, Yemen was always partitioned between North Yemen.
He's just like us.
And South Yemen. And so you have this South Yemeni government in Sana'a, which is the main capital city of the whole country, united. But when you get into North Yemen around Hodeidah, that's where Ansar Allah
Easy for you to say.
The Houthis. So, to my knowledge, I didn't think that the government in Sana'a was a Houthi government, but I guess it is. I probably should have researched this more. What I do know is that the president that was backed by the West, Ali Abdullah Saleh, he was overthrown about 14 years ago.
Oh, he was? I only read that paragraph.
Ali Abdullah Saleh. Yeah. And when they got rid of Saleh, it's been a fight between new Western-backed puppet leaders and Ansar Allah. And Ansar Allah is based in Hodeidah, not Sana'a. Hodeidah was the capital of North Yemen. Sana'a was the capital of South Yemen. So if you go back the last 100 years, there's been this power dynamic between Hodeidah and Sana'a.
Right.
Hodeidah is an older city that's always been Yemeni. Sana'a was a British port city more than anything. Kind of, I think, like Nicosia on Cyprus.
Right. Okay. Where the prostitutes were usually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's where you want to hang out because that's where the action is, you know.
Now, Saudi Arabia is still occupying about 20% of Yemen. The United Arab Emirates and Israel have illegally occupied Socotra Island, Clitoris, mouth of the Red Sea, with the really fucked up trees and everything. Really wild.
That's right. Shout out Unidozer. I can't believe I remembered that. Wow.
I have a video and an old song that I made called Song 81, which celebrates that glorious day in Riyadh, the capital of the Saudi Arabia, when the crown prince saw fit to execute 81 people in one afternoon. Now, bear in mind, this isn't like Abraham Lincoln hanging dozens and dozens of Santee Sioux Lakota Indians on Christmas Day, 1863. Or was it 64? Was it 62? During the Civil War.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there. No, in Saudi Arabia, they don't use gallows and ropes. They have an actual executioner who has a really big knife. And they
chop, yeah.
They chop the head, not a guillotine. No, big dude with a sword that just cuts your fucking head off.
There you go.
Blood spurts everywhere. So to have to do that 81 times, I'm wondering, was it the same executioner or did they like have to do like a tag team? Like,
no, you're gonna have to do like shifts because there's just no way. There's no way one person's gonna. Yeah, that's a lot of arm swinging. Like, I'm sorry, you put the most fit person on the planet in that position. They're not going to be able to get through 81 necks in just one go. It's not going to happen. That's too much. I could probably get through about like 25, and then I'd be like, no, I'm done for the day.
Here we are with the raw, unmastered original of Song 81, featuring an intro by Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi. I've never aired this
bits and
video
pieces
on any show before.
Yeah.
And so this is probably going to fuck up my possible friendship with Mohammed bin Salman. So
Well,
Oh well.
I'm glad I could provide that service for you.
Yeah. Well, here goes nothing.
There you go.
Turns out I'm not a subject of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, so they can suck my balls. Fuck it, we ball. Take it away, Jamal.
Deep inside him is an old-fashioned tribal leader. Why Mohammed bin Salman doesn't see that part as before? Because it will limit his authoritarian rule. And he doesn't want that. He doesn't see there's a need for that. So sometime I feel that he wants to enjoy the fruit of both worlds. Modernity and Silicon Valley and cinemas and everything, and at the same time he wants also to rule like how his grandfather ruled Saudi Arabia.
الأغنية رقم 81 للصحفي جمال خاشقجي.
I'm just going to interrupt real quick here.
Yeah.
That was, I believe, the last interview that I could find of Jamal Khashoggi before he hurriedly had to meet Saudi officials at the Turkish embassy in Ankara.
Right, and ended up leaving the hotel, and I think it was like 12 or 13 different suitcases.
That's right, because they shredded him.
Yeah.
Anyway, so apparently they heard his comments about Mohammed bin Salman.
That's right. That's
and
what that be
after
lesson to
hearing
everyone.
those comments that he made, he died for what he just said. A very gruesome death. Anyway. Gruesome death. All of the footage here is from the island of Socotra with the fucked up looking trees, Star Wars landscape.
I say you can give it a little bit more volume. It's only hitting about halfway up the yellow. That's good.
Hotties both dodging bombs, weddings to celebrate, targets of the Sultanate. This side of old Mecca, we sure know how to have fun. We'll line them up all 81 and execute in the sun. Salman, royal monarchy, Khashoggi threw a shredder at the Turkish embassy. Ali Abdullah Saleh's now a part of history. Well, Yemen's on fire and Socotra Island's for hire. 'Cause cheers to the groom and bride, air raid siren running high. Weddings to celebrate, targets of the Sultanate.
There you go.
Oh, let me go off. Let's see. Turn it off mute here. Hey. So, yeah, that's like a 3.5-year-old song before I had any production skill set whatsoever.
It was, for not having any skills, it's still pretty damn good. I think that was the one that made Unidozer decide he wanted to take a vacation on Socotra.
Yeah.
Because I believe we have played that before on a Thursday night broadcast.
Mm-hmm. Well, I uploaded it, it says 24 weeks ago. So that's like 6 months ago, I guess.
Probably at least, yeah.
Which it's still not 11 o'clock. I really didn't want to get to Kashmir until, you know what? Let's throw in the Traore video. I've
The
spent all that
Traore
time
video?
yapping about
The one where he's
Ibrahim
yakking?
Traore.
Yeah.
Although, yeah, I do have to warn you. Most of it's in French.
Oh, God. All right, I just won't listen then.
Although it's got Lil Wayne and Tupac on it.
I mean, I know they're both in the music industry. They do whatever they have to do, but
man, it's really kind of awkward too, because Lil Wayne, one of Lil Wayne's biggest fans in the whole wide world, is, take a guess, Mohammed bin Salman.
Are you serious?
Okay.
I mean, it doesn't surprise me, but
let's see if I can't find
maybe it should.
Okay, so it's a YouTube short, but we'll try to add
I think
here.
we can still do that.
Lil Wayne MBS story. Let's pull it up here. Let's see if it works. I'll try it.
All right, give me a sec.
Jury on there. And so the lady said, I'm sorry, the jury's too much. I think she was trying to say if it's over 25K, you got to declare it or something like that. So I was like, man, fuck all that shit, and got back on my plane. Nigga walked back on the plane like, yo, quote unquote, His Excellency. He was highly upset. 25K is your jury. I bring you gift over 25K. There was a Frank Mueller watch, definitely over 25. Oh, I forget. Lamborghini or Ferrari? I thought it was a general question. Oh, Lamborghini. What color? Oh, you talking about me one? I said black. In front of your house in 3 weeks. I am very sorry for these. I got that bit like 2-3 days ago. We landed in the private airport. I put my backpack with all my jewelry on there.
So,
wow.
So yeah, so when I say that MBS is a big Lil Wayne fan, that's not conjecture. That's
confirmed.
That's very much fucking confirmed, which is ironic considering the.
Well, I mean, that's. I'm not going to argue
what
with
better
it.
way to introduce the Yona song with Lil Wayne rapping than by trashing his biggest fan on the song beforehand? I mean, what was that? I didn't think I was really trashing MBS. I didn't think I was that hard on him.
I mean, you used the word trash. I didn't use that word.
I mean, I said that he killed 81 people in one day and put Jamal Khashoggi through a shredder, but just saying that in and of itself, that's
a
just
human
a
shredder, but still a shredder.
That's kind of gangster, right?
Well, I mean, that's the type of thing that you would do if
I just
you're
keep looking out my window for the triple beam from the Saudi assassins. So
oh yeah.
Hopefully.
No, I think I should see the red dot if it shows up on you. So it's okay. I'll warn you. I'll say duck.
If you see a red dot going across my black hat.
Yeah, I'll say duck. If you hear me, if we're going along and I say you just hear me go duck, you better drop. Especially if there's no reason for me to be saying
and
it.
Look out for the red laser beams. Let's go over here to Ibrahim Traore, who's now successfully survived 18 assassination attempts.
Right.
And of course, pardon my French.
Communitaire financière africaine, plusieurs siècles, c'est l'Amérique. Communitaire financière africaine, plusieurs siècles, c'est l'Amérique.
Il a aussi insulté tous les Africains.
Je crois qu'on a oublié de le dire.
There he is in the red parade.
Avec le temps.
Il y a une partie qui a retenu mon attention, là où il parlait d'ingratitude.
L'ingratitude, je suis bien placé pour le savoir, c'est une maladie non
We'll also hear the
transmissible.
voice
Lui,
of
il est
the French
humain, notre
president,
ingratitude
Emmanuel
n'est pas
Macron.
transmissible à lui. Voilà comment ce monsieur voit l'Afrique, voit les Africains. Nous ne sommes pas des humains à ses yeux. Je pense que s'il n'est pas athée et qu'il prie, à chaque matin qu'il se réveille et qu'il prie, il devrait aussi prier les Africains. Parce que c'est grâce à nos ancêtres qu'il existe aujourd'hui une France. Il devrait nous prier.
Disco génocide, le suicide. Enfin, vous arrivez avec technique, le monde issu du Congo, Belgique. Disco génocide, le suicide. Papa sanitaire, sois hygiénique. Ta communauté solaire n'est pas unique. Pauvre cher singe historique. Capucin, sa cousine est meule. On dit la merde au microphone. Ceci est vu le chapeau le plus jeune. Ceci est vu le chapeau. C'est la merde. Je vous souhaite toute la bonne chance. Écoutez le groupe La France, situé aux arrondissements et dirigé par la défense. Donc ce sont les circonstances, leur voler au lieu de naissance. La oui d'Afrique, quelle fragrance, employé tiré par la chaîne. Ceci est vous le morceau avant la scène. Ceci est vous le morceau. C'est la merde. Pour les lois souveraines, l'argent qui neige la scène, communautaire financière africaine, plusieurs siècles, c'est la même. Les casques bleus se promènent, quand même je t'aime, c'est la thème. Voyez bien frapper le messe, stylez-vous d'un rappeur sous-humain. Stylez-vous d'un rappeur. Plusieurs siècles, c'est la même.
This motherfucker. It's kinda hard to be optimistic when those like jail. Twisted to one of the homies homicide. Take a squad, teasing every mind's eyes. Hold my own shit to it. Bitch, no one will die, bitch. Don't fuck with me.
It's Weezy, baby, at the top is lonely. Got choppers on me, can't stop the moment. I just popped the song, man, now I'm calm. All that body on me, got you hot on more, man. It ain't gonna help you more than I'm gonna harm you. I just by myself, rolling like a homie. Fuck up by herself, fuck up with them homies. I don't need nobody, I don't see no silence. I don't see nobody come to see a body. I bet you see a ride, little Giovanni. And I bet this pipe knock the Peter out. I better pick a pepper, all my little devils hop from here to heaven. Better get a reverend, bet his mama call when she hit a reverend. Shots hit the reverend, better get it extra with your lonely ass on your only fans. You your only fan, you gon' die stripper, wasn't born to dance. Fuck the 1,000 niggas, I'm the only man. Let you stay lonely, let you skate on it, let you lay on it, then lay on it, cut on it, stay on it, stay on it, stay on it, stay on it, like you and I, lonely baby.
Unitaire financière africaine, plusieurs siècles, c'est la même. Les casques bleus se promènent, quand même je t'aime, c'est la thème. Voyez bien frapper le messe, stylez-vous d'un rappeur sous-humain. Stylez-vous d'un rappeur. Pour les lois souveraines, l'argent qui neige la scène, communautaire financière africaine, une l'Afrique personnelle.
This is all Burkina Faso that he's saying in this video. Ouagadougou and then
I was wondering.
Togo and Benin.
Dude, that's beautiful.
Ouagadougou at night. It's a freeway that's already built.
No, those city shots were gorgeous. I don't know if I've ever seen that much color in a city all at once.
And that is the beautiful capital city of, say it with me, kids, Ouagadougou.
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 Sure, man. I can say that. I can say Timbuktu.
Ouagadougou, from Ouagadougou to Timbuktu.
Kathmandu.
Great road for a Toyota pickup. Anyway.
My favorite is Bangkok, though. That will always be my favorite city name.
Why are there peanuts in my fried rice? Anyway.
Well, when in Bangkok.
That's right. Make sure it's, check for the Adam's apple. Always.
Always check for the Adam's apple. Yes, absolutely. Otherwise,
Some of me mates were just having a tour through Bangkok. Hosted some live bands that were playing there.
Nice.
They've got all styles of bands there. It's, something I encountered when I was sampling Vietnamese music the other day, and like ran into Vietnamese rappers and Vietnamese heavy metal artists, and
our culture was exported all over the world. So
that's not why I was going.
Shout out
Vietnam.
Tavistock and Stanford Research.
I was trying to sample Vietnamese music, not their version of our music.
Right.
So, anyway.
So I guess World War III is starting again. Is that what's going on?
Well, that's the ironic thing. What we did cover last week, was my Himalayan tour.
Right.
And I'd said last week that I had skipped over Kashmir, and I went ahead. I made the Nepal song and the Bhutan song, and I do remember talking about Gellifu, Mindfulness City, and all this crap. Well, turns out within 3 or 4 days after that Get Back Harder, where we were doing our Himalayan tour, India decided to perfect their title claim to all of Kashmir.
Yeah, they started acting presidential.
And began shelling and bombing the northern part of Kashmir that Pakistan has been administering since 1947. So much like the fate of the Palestinian people being in the hands of the United Nations after the British withdrew, and the Palestinians were supposed to have a vote for self-determination and sovereignty and jack-off articles.
Right.
Same thing was supposed to happen with Kashmir. But the Indians put the muscle on the Raj, or whatever the fuck, the Prince of Kashmir, who sought protection with India. And then we're waiting for the UN to have this vote of self-determination for the Palestinians and for the Kashmiris. And more than 50 years later, Palestine was never addressed. Bombs still falling.
Right.
Lines of control and constantly moving boundaries with constant military action in Israel and Palestine and in Kashmir
police
and
state
neighboring
living.
Pakistan and India. The reason why India reattacked last couple days ago, well, there's now been 2 more attacks because they attacked Mufazabad, or whatever the fuck it is. Mufazabad, not to be confused with Abbottabad, which is where they allegedly took Osama bin Laden and then killed him, but they dropped him in the sea and nobody took a picture.
Right, because it's very offensive in the Muslim culture to do that, apparently.
Right.
Although every Muslim I've asked about that, they're like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah. So fast forward to present day, And China and India have been going back and forth over territorial disputes along the Himalayan range, all the way from India's corner with China, where they meet Burma or Myanmar or whatever the fuck you want to call it,
Right.
Rohingya land.
It's
And
the mountain range where they do the stick fighting in the
yeah,
borderlands.
and India, the way the boundary was drawn by the British, India has this like little tiny little hand, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Total Recall, the girdle that you lift up your shirt and you have the little man sticking out of your chest. So it's got like the little girdle hand that goes all the way around Bangladesh to the far eastern side of Bangladesh. That's called Arunachal Pradesh. Nearly half of that is occupied by China. And then next to that, Bhutan, there's 3 parts of Bhutan that have been occupied by China. North of Bhutan, well, it used to be called Tibet. Now it's just China. Sorry, Lhasa. Then you go on over to Kashmir, and Kashmir, well, it's just part of India now. And now India wants all of Kashmir. So now they're bombing the Pakistani protected parts of Kashmir. The reason why, the timing in all of this has to do with, and I know I've mentioned this on numerous Get Back Carters, the Jammu to Srinagar standard gauge rail line that India Railways has now completed. You see, they finally finished the last tunnel. They finally got test trains through the track. They now have the railroad finished from Jammu to Srinagar, as in like a couple of weeks ago. Well, now that they've got their standard gauge rail line all the way to the middle of fucking Kashmir and Srinagar, let the bombs fly. We got our supply line now. And it's an engineering masterpiece because so much of it is either tunnel or the tallest rail bridge on planet Earth, the River Chenab crossing, which I think I've shared that. Let's pull that up.
It's possible.
It's called Get Back Harder, so let's get back harder together.
Might as well. We still got time.
This has everything to do with Kashmir. If it wasn't for this bridge, India would not really be able to fully complete its annexation, illegal, mind you, illegal annexation of all of Kashmir.
Well, I mean, it's illegal. Illegal is a strong word, Yona. Why don't we go with impromptu?
Well, I mean, it's illegal according to international law, but might make
but nobody pays attention to that.
Chenab River Railway Bridge. Oh, railway. That's right. They say railway. All right. India Today, 3 weeks ago.
This is how y'all know we don't actually plan the shows ahead of time, because otherwise we'd have all this shit handy and it'd just be fucking flying up on the screen. You wouldn't be sitting here checking your phone or doing whatever while we're waiting for Yona to find the link.
Oh, I've got the link for you. Because I saw all these stories.
That's what she said.
BBC and DW and all these other ones, but I'm like, no. I gotta find.
I can do Deutsche Welle.
I wanted. This is in India. I was wanting very much to be hearing the Indians to talk about and be bragging about their very most magnificent bridging of the rivering.
Are they doing their American impression? Are they going India #1?
This is Piyush Mishra, and yes, to answer your question, fuck yes. You ready? Oh, this is good.
To long Chenab railway bridge, which is world's highest railway bridge connecting Jammu and Kashmir, is not only connecting two geographical locations but also connecting multiple hearts. Remember that it is going to impact the lives of crores and crores of people. It is going to give cheap travel from various parts of the country to Kashmir, and also going to give a lot of benefits to the people of Jammu and Kashmir. Remember that in the last 10 years, Railways has used multiple engineering marvels to construct this railway bridge. This has around 60,000 metric ton steel which has been used.
I really hope he's not still working for them.
70,000 cubic concrete has been used to construct this bridge. There are also different features of this bridge which is going to give all-weather connectivity, and Railways has also gathered seismic data of the last 100 years of the areas surrounding 150 kilometers of this entire region. So all aspects have been kept in mind while constructing this bridge, and now this bridge is going to be dedicated to the nation on April 19 when PM Narendra Modi is going to inaugurate this bridge. After the 10 years of hard work, Chenab railway bridge is now ready to be dedicated to the nation.
So, as our friend, what was his name? Pioche Mushy or whatever. Pioche. As Pioche just let us know, it was April the 19th.
He needs to get teleprompter reading lessons. He's terrible.
Yeah. Although his English is somewhat.
No, his English is fine. He's terrible at reading off of a prompter.
Well,
awful, absolutely awful.
To be fair, he's used to working at a call center and technical support. But anyway,
I get that.
I couldn't help myself. I really couldn't. So as he pointed out, Narendra Modi, the leader of India #1.
Speaking of, folks, you're going to have to solve your own computer problems for a while. Just saying.
Yeah, they're busy right now.
They're a little busy at the moment.
So he dedicated the bridge opening on April the 19th. They then began testing runs of the train sets on 4/20. And it took 2 weeks to complete the train testing, running the electric train sets back and forth, making sure that, they can push the voltage all the way to Srinagar and back, and they don't have a stretch of track where the train just dies. There's a lot of things to test when you have an overhead catenary powered electrical train set versus a diesel train set. And so, push comes shove, the military has diesel train sets and they can just diesel it through. But it's got such long tunnels. I don't know what type of ventilation they put in it because, again, this was built by India. So, that being said, that would put us to around May the 2nd or May the 3rd when the
track, last Friday.
Yeah, last Friday when the track and everything was proved out. When did they strike Pakistan?
It was just a few days ago.
Monday or Tuesday?
It was like Sunday or Monday.
Yeah. So literally, as soon as India Railways said, hey, track's in shape, bridge is open, tunnels are open, the power lines work, we've now run trains back and forth between Jammu and Srinagar for a week and a half. We completed all the testing trials. Everything works fine. Okay. All right. Push the red buttons. Boom. Boom.
I mean, it's interesting timing for sure.
They did not begin their Operation Sindoor until they had their supply line secured. They learned from William Tecumseh Sherman. They did.
Possibly. Well, I do know, and I'm not the only person who has noticed this, but while India and Pakistan have been dominating the headlines with their war games, there's you hear nothing about what's going on, virtually nothing, at least as far as what I'm looking at, about Russia and Ukraine. Media's completely shifted their focus over to India.
Well, there was a 2.5 day ceasefire that they're halfway
No,
through
there
right
wasn't.
now. I mean,
Are you kidding? Ukraine was fucking striking Russia every day of the ceasefire.
well, according to RT this morning, they said they're on the second day of a Russian ceasefire. So
Correct.
maybe Russia stopped firing, but I wouldn't expect Koki Smurf and the crackheads to ever stop firing because they're coked out crackheads from Queef. I mean, what do you
Well,
expect?
yeah, they just got they got a shipment of Patriot missiles.
Oh yeah, the old
they were
Patriot
just
missiles
they were
that were
just
shipped
sitting
directly
there
from Israel.
from Israel. That's right. They were just sitting there in the closet gathering dust, and it was like, well, shit. If we'd known we'd had these a couple of years ago, well, I guess we might as well send them, right? What's it gonna hurt?
Now, dare I say, China's only overseas military base is directly adjacent Camp Lemonnier in Djibouti for
Hmm.
protecting the Red Sea and the Somali Passage from, the pirates and shit.
Right.
Pirates of the Caribbean or whatever it's called over there, Zanzibar and all that shit, East Africa.
Yeah, because it's technically not the Mediterranean at that point.
It's the upper Indian Ocean.
Right.
So the fact that China and Russia and Iran and North Korea, collectively known as the Axis of Resistance against imperial U.S. Anglo-American hegemony, um, they now have a serious footprint in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where all the mineral plays are happening right now, where the U.S. and France and England and China and Russia are all knocking heads.
Right.
So I
So,
keep
all right,
hearing
here's
people say
the question.
Ukraine
then.
is World War III, Palestine is World War III,
Yeah,
Iran is World War III. Mark my words.
I get all of that. I get all of that.
Africa, when all these superpowers in Africa start opening up and just killing Africans like crazy as they're fighting each other, that's to me that's going to be the World War III moment when we've actually got Russian armor, British armor, U.S. armor, fucking tanks rolling in the Sahara.
So do you see India remaining among the British Commonwealth Empire axis?
Well, they are right now. They're totally,
of course, they are right now.
Step with Israel and avidly anti-Muslim, which is one key thing that I left out of the Kashmir story. Everybody in Kashmir is Muslim. Everybody in Pakistan is Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody in Bangladesh is Muslim. Most everybody in India, not Muslim.
Right. Although
there
are Muslims that live in India.
There are Muslims in lower India. But by and large, the Muslim majority parts of India, after the partition, many of those fled to Pakistan and East Pakistan.
I'm going to fact you up, Yona. I bet you don't know this. The largest contingent of the Society of Jesus, the ones that we lovingly call the Jesuits, is in India.
Yeah. Because India is fucking huge. India is like the Texas of Asia in many ways. It's fucking huge. And the Hindu majority and the BJP that rule the country have just been shaking pom-poms nonstop for Israel and are constantly engaged in the most Islamophobic language practically available in any language on earth. And so the fact of this forcible annexation of Kashmir and now bombing Pakistan over and over again a huge part of this dynamic of animosity of India versus Pakistan has everything to do with the constant Islamophobia and anti-Muslim rhetoric coming from the BJP in India, despite the fact that there are still all kinds of Muslims in India, as well as many other religions. But they just don't happen to be the ruling BJP that's calling the shots right now. And, again, I think when it comes to the general public
India's
in
been
India,
British ruled since like the what 19th century at
yeah,
least.
way back. I mean, even before China.
Well, yeah, because India was what allowed them to basically have enough of a foothold in the
To
area to
leapfrog
go
into
at
China.
China. Yeah.
Yeah, and then get them on opium.
But not terribly different from the strategy that they employed in India and other parts of the world.
But that's and so, when you look at the similarities between Palestine and Kashmir and the just brazen territorialism and territorial ambitions of India, now locking heads with China on 10 different boundary disputes along their international boundary running to the west of Mount Everest, Sagarmatha, what they call it. This, of course, Sagarmatha was renamed Mount Everest. I think I covered it before because the British General Surveyor for the Indian Mandate, the British Mandate over India, the General Surveyor of India was George Everest. And he was the first one to use his land surveying equipment to calculate the height of the peak of Mount Everest by sighting it from 8 different setups and measuring the vertical angle from 8 different setups on a baseline, which then allowed him to, calculate the vector angles from 8 different setups and then, you know, check the closure error and have a really good idea of his initial measurement was within 4 feet of the actual determined height of Mount Everest peak after they put GPS on it. So
Oh, wow.
pretty fucking good using a theodolite transit hundreds of years ago. But anyways, he was the first one to mark it and measure it. So the what's it called? The Geological Survey in England, the British Geological Survey. They named it after him.
Well, sure. Why not?
He's the one that measured
I mean,
it.
it doesn't matter anyway. The name is going to get changed eventually,
But I mean, that's technically the highest point on planet Earth. 29,029 feet, something like that.
At the moment, that'll change.
Yeah.
It always does.
But India and China have quite literally thrown hands. They've now had 3 different skirmishes.
They try to beat each other with sticks. That's what they do in that part of the world.
Right. And where that happened was along the eastern boundary of the Kashmir state, where it joins Ladakh country, which is all claimed by China now. Because there used to be all these little
I don't think I've ever eaten any of their food.
There was all these different little principalities that were landlocked and protected by the mountains. Whether you're going up the Moose Tong or the Yun Tong, like the horses from Moose Tong, that's where we get the word fucking Mustang, right? Mustang. Moose Tong, Yuan Tong, these valleys going into I'm talking about Genghis Khan's horses, the Mustang,
right?
From Moose Tong, Tang, Moose Tang, and one by one, they're just getting gobbled up. Tibet's already been gobbled up by China.
Pretty much.
Kashmir is now, for all intents and purposes, has now been completely gobbled up by India.
Yeah,
And
Palestine is being gobbled up by Israel, in addition to parts of Syria.
I kind of feel bad for Pioche up on the bridge there because
Lebanon.
he's bragging about the fact that it took them 10 years to build that bridge. And it'll take less than 10 seconds for that bridge to completely collapse in the river after a Pakistani missile hits it. So, I mean, they're not really thinking very far ahead.
Well,
Not really. I mean, we'll see.
Well, and here's the thing is because I was looking to see if there were any recent updates, and I haven't seen any because it seems like the main action occurs while I'm sleeping because I always wake up to something new in the news between India and Pakistan, or at least that's what's supposed to be shipped out this week. So I'd imagine if there is something happening, it's probably happening right now or just happened and hasn't actually hit the news wires yet. But the funniest part about it is none of the stories are matching up.
Huh.
Like India's version of events is different from Pakistan's version of events, which is different from what the BBC is reporting. It's just absolutely fucking nuts. So I'm at the point now where I'm like, all right, until I see like, just pictures of bodies strewn all over, like what they've been blasting all over the social ghettos with Israel for almost 3 fucking years now.
Well,
until I start seeing shit like that, I just don't think I'm going to believe there's anything actually going on.
From my perspective, what I've observed, I've seen news reports in 4 different languages around there, from RT, from the CCTV China, from WION, WION, which is India, and from I think it was Al Manar, which is one of the Arabic outlets.
Yeah.
From Al Manar is
that the Emirates?
Lebanon, because the Emirates they broadcast out of Doha, Qatar. That would be Al Jazeera network. I'm talking about Al Manar. Anyways, I'm not a big fan of Al Jazeera. They're pretty dogs. I mean, they're based in Qatar with the Hamas leadership and the other.
Yeah, I mean, there's still state media.
Yeah, it's Western state media in Arabic. But
essentially, yeah.
What I've been able to glean is they attacked a mosque and a madrasa, which is a Islamic school for grade school for children, a madrasa, place of study, in Mafazabad. There were 2 different sites. Pakistan confirmed it. The Indians were bragging about, the isolated the locations of the terrorists and just attacked the terrorists in the terrorist camps, the ones that are responsible, allegedly, for an attack on Indian soil, which in this case was somewhere in Kashmir.
Right. With cruise missiles. They attacked with cruise missiles.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you look at the map of Kashmir state.
So it wasn't exactly surgical.
And you begin in 1947. All of a sudden, Indian forces enter into southern Kashmir at Jammu in 1948. Just like when the Zionists expanded all across Palestine in 1948. The parallels are stunning, but there are differences. Nonetheless, all of a sudden, there's like a dashed line, a line of control between the Kashmiris, who are Muslim, and the Indian troops who are coming in there with red dots on their head, who are very much not fucking Muslim. And so this LOC, this line of control, this line of Allah, as they say, the Muslim believers, is the Hindus pushing further and further and further and further and further into their Islamic principality, where they followed Islam for over 1,000 years in a largely completely cut off, isolated Himalayan principality, like all the others. And in this case, it's not the Chinese marching into Tibet; it's the Indians marching into Kashmir,
Right.
and they've just never really been able to get a foothold because it was such a fucking pain in the ass to get into the Kashmir because you have to go up the Chenab River Valley, and there was no good roads. There was no railroad. There's really hardly no way to get in and out of there. But there is now, and that changes the game.
Right.
As long as the rail line stays, so long as the rail line stays open.
Well, so long as that bridge stays up.
Right.
Which,
And I mean, just like with Russia building their bridge across the Kerch Strait to the Crimean Peninsula down to Sevastopol.
Mm-hmm.
Ukraine attacked that bridge. Yeah,
well, somebody did.
Well, obviously they. I mean, they've attacked it the last 2 times.
Yeah.
What was it? Was it Turkey this time or Georgia? No, it was Ukraine attacking the Kerch Strait Bridge again for the 3rd time. I'm sure they'll take credit.
They'll get
for
it right
eventually.
one of these times.
Although they've had a little help from their friends in England.
Just a little bit.
The British have helped. And, there's a new leader in Deutschland now.
Yes.
Bye-bye Olaf Scholz. We got a new one.
Well,
Friedrich.
Yeah. MERS, MERZ.
Yep.
Which is
Friedrich
interesting because you remember one of the big respiratory diseases that we were all supposed to be scared of, like a decade and a half ago, was MERS.
MERS, Middle Eastern Respiratory Syndrome.
Right. So we finally got our MERS.
Yeah, they call that the camel cough. You don't want to get that.
I just thought it was interesting that they did the traditional German thing where they had the people cast their votes and they counted all the votes and they got the results and they were like, no, this is wrong. You have to vote again. You didn't vote right. So they had everybody come back and do it again.
Did you hear about the chicken shit moves made by Estonia and was it Austria? Yeah, in regards to the leader of Serbia, he was denied crossing Austrian airspace as his flight was taking him to Moscow for the.
They were being petty bitches.
Right. And then the same thing with Minister Fico, or Fico, if you want to say it, from the Slovakian Republic there. What up, Bratislava? And Estonia wouldn't let him fly over Estonia. And so he had to detour around to get to Moscow. Just the most petty shit. And it's like they're going to celebrate the end of World War II. Like, what's the big deal? These are members of the European Union that you're doing this to.
Right.
Kind of feels like the toes are already in the water of World War III. And it's felt like that for a couple of years.
Yeah. Well, it's again, I think in many ways you can still trace this back all the way to 9/11. Right? Because with what has been going on in Eastern Europe, right, hasn't been the same kind of theater of war of what we've been used to in the past, because there's still like daily life activities are still taking place in the Ukraine, right? It's not like it was back in World War II where entire cities were either turned into battlefields or turned to ash because of bombing campaigns, right? Like we don't have that anymore.
Well, it did get pretty intense, like around Donetsk and Lugansk and Mariupol for some periods of time. When it came to constant bombardment and civilians actually being killed at shopping centers and stuff like that.
Right.
But ultimately, allegedly the voters in Kherson and Zaporizhzhia and Lugansk and Donetsk all miraculously voted to be annexed into the Federal Russian Republic. And the Duma, which is the Russian legislature, they kindly accepted their referendum vote.
Hmm.
This is following the alleged referendum vote in Crimea, which is all in response, of course, to the so-called Maidan revolution when Victoria Nuland and John McCain were
Mm-hmm.
literally playing hacky sack with Azov battalion Nazis and eating
Again,
little
yeah.
sandwiches with the
How
bread
would
edges cut
how
off.
would these, again, my question is, how would these people have been able to get to the places, the positions, the power that they held, the positions that they occupied in order to pull that shit off
It
if
all
9/11
happened
had
after
never fucking
9/11.
happened?
It
We
all
wouldn't have
happened after
any of
9/11.
this, dude.
Wow.
Yeah.
Zelensky's after 9/11. All
Because
of this
again, it
stuff
was
came together.
after 9/11 the decision was made, we're going to go get them where they are.
Well, I mean, and of course, immediately after 9/11, that's when Israel then literally leads the United States by the nostrils across Iraq and into Afghanistan for 2 failed fucking undeclared war, military conflict, whatever you want to go, Operation Iraqi
Yeah,
Freedom.
because again, all of that shit was based on intelligence, right? Off the briefings that they were getting from the
Right.
various agencies, which again,
From
anybody who
Mossad
does
and
their fucking,
MI6.
yeah, it all comes from Mossad. I mean, technically, it all comes from MI6, but MI6, Mossad, the CIA, it's all the same fucking
It's an echo
organism,
chamber.
right? Doesn't matter which one you reference; they're all the same thing. I can trace clear paths all the way back to 9/11 and even before that.
Yeah.
You go back and you look at what the fucking industrialists and the international bankers were doing in the 20th century was setting us up for an event such as 9/11 that would act as a catalyst to propel the entire world eventually into a surveillance state, a security state.
You look at the chessboard and the pieces
It's all
where
been
they
laid
are
out.
today. And the critical move was made on 9/11. At this point, 2 or 3 pawns have made it across the board, and they've gotten their queen and rook back. I mean, it's cataclysmic what's about to come down because the real economic squeeze, the greatest economic pain, the nuts that are going to be squeezed the hardest now over the next 4 months are right the fuck here.
Yeah.
It's going to be painful. And maybe the only way that we could get out of a possible situation of empty shelves is with some
No,
war
I'm not buying
rationing.
that. I'm not buying
No?
any of that shit. No, I've heard the fucking fear mongering out of the alleged independent media this week about, and some of it's even from the mainstream media too. We know exactly when the shelves are going to go bare. You better start preparing for it now. Fuck these people. All right. Because these were the same fucking people that 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, oh my God, look at this. They're calling all these chickens. Oh my God, look at all these dead cows. They were doing the same fucking fear mongering then. And guess what? Nothing fucking came from it. So I don't want to hear any of this shit anymore about
now,
empty store shelves.
I've been looking at the
Sorry, I'm a little enervated about that.
I've been looking at the maritime shipping on the big cargo ships with TEU containers shipping from Guangzhou and Shanghai. The ships are still sailing. The cargoes are much reduced, and the drop off in cargo shipping just began like 2-3 weeks ago in terms of uh, its beginning port, whether we're talking Shanghai or Guangzhou or the other 10 major ports of China.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, you're talking about, a 2-month transit time across the ocean, and then they've got to be piled up on the docks at Port of Long Beach or Port of Los Angeles or Seattle or Tacoma or Savannah, Georgia or Norfolk, Virginia or wherever, Newark or New York, wherever it's offloaded. Then it'll be put stacked, in most cases, double stacked onto, well, the vast majority of stuff around here is coming right past my house on the Norfolk Southern Railway main line from Norfolk, Virginia to Chicago, Illinois. They're still going day and night. So we're not going to see a disruption in the global supply chain hitting shelves at least for another couple of weeks until you're even going to notice it's 99% instead of 100. The 17 to 20% drop in out shipments from China to the U.S. That's now been registered over the last 3 weeks. Yeah, we're going to notice that.
The only people who are going to notice that, again, I'll go on the record right now saying this. The only people that are going to notice what's going on right now with the trade war and all the tariffs and the situation, us versus China and the economy and all of that bullshit, the only people who are going to notice any of this are the people who have been buying the cheap crap from China for the last 10, 15, 20 years or however fucking long it's been now. Everything else isn't going to be affected. Our food supply is not going to be affected as a result of this.
Most of our food's coming up from the Americas, not across.
Correct.
And most of it's coming right across the Mexican border. Vast majority in terms of food. Now, up until my head-on collision, well over half of my DoorDash assignments was to go to a store and buy food and other merchandise on a shopping list. And going all the way back to November of last year when it first started happening, to where no matter how hard I tried, even going to the extent of tracking down the store manager, asking them to go into the back of the store and see if there any other supply, because I'm starting to have problems with completing my shopping orders because there's always empty shelves sporadically throughout the Family Dollar and the Dollar Tree and the Dollar General stores. And then I start encountering the same thing with Kroger and with Meijer and Albertsons and Costco and Walmart. And I'm like, again, very hit or miss. And so I might not be able to find this particular brand and it's sold out. So I would have to substitute with the generic Great Value Walmart brand or whatever. That's how it was up until February. Then all of a sudden come February, well, now I'm looking for just something silly like cooking oil. And there's no Wesson, there's no knockoff. It's just totally gone. And so I'm asking the store, I'm like, y'all don't have any cooking oil? Oh, we only get a truck once a week. And so, I mean, when I say that there's going to be issues with empty shelves, it's because of the just-in-time shipping and the way that they've been keeping their inventory in most of these dollar stores at a bare minimum. So whenever
the dollar stores don't have a choice. That all comes from corporate. They have to follow what corporate says. So it's corporate. If this is a problem in the supply chain of that particular corporation, then that corporation's going to fail.
It's crazy how many Dollar General stores have just sprung up and been built all across this rural part of the Midwest in the last 2 years. I mean, literally, you can't drive 5 miles and not see a Dollar General in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Oh, I know.
It's crazy. But when it comes to keeping those stores stocked, I mean, all it takes is one weatherman on TV saying, "Oh, there's a snowstorm coming," and then they all stampede through these little dollar stores, and then here I come mopeying in with my fucking red DoorDash bag. There's no milk, there's no bread, there's no eggs, there's no butter, and there's not gonna be another truck in 5 days.
Right.
So for, like, the next week, pretty much, that store's fucked. And
Well,
most of
it's
the
not
other ones.
well, I mean, yeah, the store is fucked, but it's more the people are fucked.
Right. But, like, I mean, the store is fucked in, like, that I won't take any more orders at that store because I know
Right.
I'll have to go shop, and because that's one thing that I started to have to do. I found out that if I got an assignment from DoorDash to go shop someone's Dollar General order, of course, it would want me to go to this particular Dollar General, and
Right.
sometimes it was really stupid. Like, I would be in Kentucky, and there would be a Dollar General 2 miles down the road in Kentucky, but it's telling me to drive to Ohio 8 miles away and shop at that one,
Right.
and I didn't understand why. But I started to figure out, well, okay, not every dollar store carries 0 sugar fucking Dr. Pepper or whatever,
Yeah,
weird
they
shit
do.
like
Their inventory does vary based on region, and I
with
believe
soda pop.
the way that their inventory systems are supposed to be set up. Again, not saying this is the way they actually work, but this is how the inventory systems are typically sold. Is that once the item is scanned out of the store, that will actually remove it from inventory, which is what convinced a lot of these places to go to the just-in-time system because they were like, "Oh, it's great. Well, the computer does all the work for us." No, not really, because they don't. I've never seen one that works as advertised. They're always fucked up. They always have quirks, and they don't represent inventory correctly.
I think push come to shove, most of this is all just bluff and bluster and an excuse to just jack up prices when it's going to be totally
Correct.
unjustified.
Correct.
We already saw that with the eggs.
Dude, I was looking at
The egg thing was a big fucking scam.
I was looking at that yesterday. I was about to do an egg report last night because again, had to go to the grocery store yesterday, checked prices. Egg prices are exactly the same as what they were when they shot up back at the end of February. Have not changed, have not
didn't
come
drop them
down.
back down.
Nothing. Nope, exactly the same. Still, I was like, that's gouging.
But there's no antitrust enforcement. There's no more Taft-Hartley. It's gone.
Dude, we're no longer in an environment where the customer is always right. I don't know if you guys have noticed that or not. I tried to point it out a few times. We're in a caveat emptor market completely. Like if you have a dispute between you and some vendor that you're trying to do business with, good luck if you're not involving a lawyer. Because it's every man for himself in the marketplace at this point. They don't care about you. They're not even pretending anymore.
For me, the key takeaway after doing the deep dive on Ibrahim Traore and the developments in Africa, of course, I get a major anti-imperialism boner when I hear, someone erudite and eloquent talking about the evils of settler colonialism and genocidal policies and practice of Leopold and Belgium and Congo and, Lumumba and all these. Great, man. I'm all there with you. But then it turns to the military rhetoric and then palling around with Kim Jong Un and all these other axis of resistance homies. And this romanticizing the anti-imperialist. I mean, I may agree with some of what they say, but the thing of it is, these aren't the good guys either.
No.
In my opinion, they're all bad guys. Like, I just wanted to say that before I get off the air. Like,
No, it's
I'm no fan of Traore or Putin or Xi. They're all fucking crooks. Don't get me wrong. And some of them are absolute fascist dictators, like Traore, even though he's eloquent, even though he's hitting it right on the nose on his anti-imperialist notes. He's totally correct.
you know who
But
he reminded me of?
Castro?
Idi Amin.
Yeah.
I got heavy Amin vibes from him.
Yeah.
That
Good old
most people
military
don't
dictatorship.
even know who the fuck I'm talking about.
Go
So
wrong.
I'll type the name into the live stream chat so you can go and search it up.
What
I
wasn't
don't
he
think they talk about Edie too much anymore.
wasn't he the barbarian of Ethiopia?
Uganda.
Oh, Uganda.
Uh-huh. Butcher. I
Kampala,
believe the
Uganda,
butcher
next
of
to
Uganda.
Rwanda. Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was a nasty piece of work.
Tanzania, they just got done opening up a 6-lane bridge over Lake Victoria that now connects by highway Rwanda and Burundi and Uganda directly to the East Coast at Dar es Salaam. Major thing just happened last week.
Yeah.
Opened up
Well,
the
they're
Victoria.
going to be doing a lot of mining, a lot of growing, possibly even a lot of manufacturing in Africa.
I talked about the MS-23, the Vantois, the rebel Vantois that are from Uganda and Rwanda, and they've been going into eastern parts of Congo and just illegally mining all kinds of shit and hauling it out of there. And they're doing it right now, every day.
Yeah. Get while the getting's good.
Yeah.
Because they don't have the entire continent locked down yet, but they're working on it. Everybody's taking their piece. This is apparently the century where Africa gets carved up.
And Traore
again
is doing business in Moscow too. There's some other deals that he's supposed to sign with
Absolutely.
Putin and with Xi Jinping while he's in Moscow today and tomorrow. So we'll follow up on this next Thursday to see, because I'm at this point, it generally piques my interest when 4 of the biggest bad guys to the U.S. all show up in the middle of fucking nowhere in Africa.
Right.
What the fuck's going on there? So we'll look more into that, folks.
Yeah.
It
You
does
go
pique
ahead
my
and
interest. It's kind of weird.
It's a little weird, but it also kind of tips their hand when they do stuff like that.
Yes,
because
it
again,
does.
if you know what you're looking at, then you can kind of figure out what's about to happen next.
They're telegraphing the path.
Correct.
And so we just got to find out where the red zone is.
Pretty much. It's guaranteed
Well, I love
to
you
be
guys.
somewhere.
I'm going to be jumping on another show here in just a few minutes where I can spread more of the Liberty Radio gospel of manufacturing reality. Best bet's to put the phone down, turn the TV off, go outside, have a bourbon and a cigar, do your own thinking.
Absolutely.
Go with your gut. Trust your intuition. If I said that right. Yeah, trust your intuition. Yeah, gut feeling.
Yeah. Hasn't steered me wrong yet.
That's it.
Solid
That's all I got,
advice.
folks. And of course, to find out more, fuck around. And while we're off the air, check out the different platforms where you can get replays and manufacturingreality.org. And for the donationally inclined, there's links there for sending money directly to Liberty Radio. Or you can send it to me if you want to help me buy diapers for the Yonalings.
There you go.
All those things and links are out there for those that want to find them. Most of all, trust yourself. Be yourself. Trust yourself. That's all I got. Which totally getting the guy there. See you soon.
Yeah. Good night, everybody. Go and check out Yona over on the Thrill Kill thing over there. Because we're shutting down. You got to go somewhere else. Can't stay here.
Smoke more of the weeds.